So, India's biggest bank just dropped some major news, its best quarter ever. But what's really going on behind that headline? We're going to decode the record-breaking numbers from the State Bank of India right now. Let's dive in. Okay, let's just start with the headline number because, wow, over 21,000 crore rupees. That is SBI's profit for one quarter. And to be clear, this isn't just a good number, it's the highest quarterly profit the bank has ever recorded. All right, so when you see a number that massive, two big questions pop up, right? First, how on earth did they manage that? And second, what does it mean for the rest of the economy when a giant like SBI is performing this well? We're about to unpack all of it. So first things first, let's really set the stage and understand just how much of a record breaker this quarter actually was. What's really telling is the language the chairman, CS, said he used here. He talked about continuity and consistency. He's not framing this as some kind of one-off lucky win. The message is clear. They see this as the result of a deliberate, solid strategy that's paying off. Okay, so if it's not a fluke, then what is the secret sauce? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the engine driving this incredible growth. So, it really boils down to three key things. First, you've got net profit up by nearly 25%. That's huge. But check this out. The operating profit is up almost 40%. That's the money from their core, day-to-day banking, which tells you the fundamental business is absolutely humming. And it's all built on top of a solid 15% growth in credit, which, simply put, means they're lending out more money. Now, before we get to this next number, let's do a super quick refresh on a term you hear all the time. NPAs, or non-performing assets. Basically, these are the loans that have gone sour. And for anyone looking at a bank, the lower this number, the better. It's a huge sign of a healthy, well-managed loan book. And boom, here's the result of that good management. SBI's gross NPAs have dropped to just 1.57%. I mean, let that sink in for a second. That's not just good, it's the best that number has looked in more than 20 years. That really speaks volumes about how well they're managing risk. All right, so the present looks fantastic. But we all know banking is about what's next. So what's SBI's game plan for the future? Let's take a look. It looks like they're tackling this on three fronts. First, they're doubling down on their digital app, Yono, with a goal to basically double its user base. Second, they're launching Chakra, which is a special unit designed to fund those up-and-coming sunrise sectors. And third, they're not forgetting the basics. They're actually putting 10,000 people on the ground in their branches to improve the customer experience. It's a really interesting blend of high-tech and high-touch, isn't it? And this isn't just about the bank's bottom line. The chairman made it a point to tie their long-term goals directly to the Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. So they're really positioning themselves as more than just a bank. They're framing their role as a core partner in India's economic future. That's a powerful statement. Of course, a record profit is great, but you can bet the analysts were ready with some tough questions. Their job is to look past the headlines, so let's get into what they wanted to know. Okay, so here was the first big question on everyone's mind. Analysts pointed out that the last quarter's huge profit got a big boost from a one-time gain, the sale of Yes Bank's shares. So how did they manage to hit those same high numbers this quarter without that extra cash? In other words, is this new profit level for real? And the bank's response was pretty straightforward. They said, yep, you're right, last quarter had that one-off gain, but this quarter's strength came from different places. Things like stronger core operations, better fee income, and a pretty hefty dividend from their own mutual fund arm. So the takeaway was they used different tools to get to the same great result, which suggests it's more repeatable. Naturally, the next question was about looking ahead. After a quarter this strong, were they feeling confident enough to raise their expectations for the full year? Would they upgrade their guidance? And the answer was a very confident yes. They actually went ahead and raised their official guidance for credit growth for the whole year. They bumped it up from a 12 to 14% range to a new, more optimistic 13 to 15%. That's a pretty clear signal that they think this momentum is here to stay. All right, so we've looked at the massive profit, the strategy, and the analysts' questions. What does this all boil down to? What's the final takeaway here? For me, it really comes down to three key things. First, this record performance isn't just a fluke. It's built on strong core business growth. Second, the bank's financial health is the best it's been in over 20 years, which points to really solid risk management. And finally, they have a very clear forward-looking plan that's all about investing in digital while also aligning with India's bigger economic goals. And that really leaves us with one final big question. SBI is clearly firing on all cylinders, and that's a fantastic sign for the broader Indian economy. But, and this is a big but, management themselves pointed to global volatility as a key risk. So the question remains, is this forward-looking strategy strong enough to shield the bank from future shocks if the global markets take a turn? That's what we'll